Our next protein that we're going to be covering is protein in this PowerPoint presentation. It's made up of 20 different amino acids. There's 11 non-essential that we have to get from food, and there are 9 that are essential that actually our body could make. Protein's function in the body is to build and repair all of the tissues. This includes not only the muscle tissue, but also tendons, ligaments, cartilage, and all the organs as well. Includes your hair, your skin. So any tissue of the human body, protein will build and repair. Our body does not use protein for energy unless there is an absence of carbohydrates and fat. So our body typically wants to use carbs and fats for energy. If there are no carbohydrates around, we would actually use protein for energy in that case only, in which case we would get 4 calories per gram. It's the exact amount of a carbohydrate calorie, and that's because the protein molecule actually transforms into a carbohydrate molecule before it is used for energy. That being said, our diet should be anywhere between 12 and 20% of all the food we consume in one day should be protein, based off of how active we are. So if we're very active people, about 20% of all the food you eat in one day should be protein. So the question always comes up of how much protein should you eat for your body weight? And I wanted to show you some of the reputable sources from nutrition research and scientific studies have shown that for protein, approximately 1.2 to 1.7 grams for every kilogram that a person should be protein. That's going to equate to anywhere between 50 and 100 grams of protein per day. But we're going to do a math problem in the next few slides that will show you exactly how much grams of protein you should be getting each day. This slide is the position statement from the National Athletic Training Association on protein. And basically what they're saying on this slide is we should consume our protein from food rather than from supplements. A couple of problems with supplements is that, number one, they're costly. Number two, we're not really sure if they're pure, safe, or if they really are what the company claims they are to be in the bottle. So they're not regulated by anyone, by the government, or by any organization. Therefore, the supplements that we're buying, there's no assurance that what we're buying is what we're getting. So for many reasons, health reasons and financial reasons, we should probably get our protein from foods rather than supplements. How much protein should you get? So what we want to get is between 0.8 and 1.7 grams per kilogram of body weight. And our textbook refers to this number. I like easy math, so I typically will recommend 1 gram of protein for every kilogram of body weight. And we're going to do the math on the next slide. To find out how many grams you need, divide how much you weigh in pounds by 2.2. This will tell you how many kilograms you are. And then you want to multiply your weight in kilograms by a factor that's recommended, anywhere between 0.8 if you're on the low activity and 1.7 if you're very highly active. And that's how many grams of kilogram you would need each day. So take a pause on this show right now and figure out for yourself how many grams you need by doing this math equation. The next few slides will show you how many grams of protein in a typical food. So this slide shows us about 3 ounces of beef, pork, fish is going to get us anywhere between 20 and 30 grams. 3 ounces is about the size of your fist if it's clenched, and oftentimes people will consume much more than 3 ounces in one meal. So just be assured that if it's a meat product coming from meat, poultry, fish, it's about 25 grams for every 3 ounces. We can get some grams of protein from non-animal sources such as dairy. Might give us about 8 grams per cup of milk. Some cheeses, same thing, about 8 to 10 grams per serving. We also get some protein from nuts, seeds, and dark green leafy vegetables, although they're much less than the animal sources. This slide is showing us some plant-based protein options from beans. We can get around 15 grams of protein per cup. We could get it from soy milk, about 9 grams, from hemp milk, about 2 grams. Rice, brown rice, 1 cup cooked will give us about 5 grams. And we also get some, albeit small amounts, in vegetables, dark green leafy vegetables, about 4 or 5 grams per serving. This is a summary of how many grams in different types of food, so if you need to pause the presentation to take a look at this, and it just shows you there's higher amounts in meat-based products, but there are some other foods that we could get protein from. One thing to be aware of is this myth that eating more protein will lead to more muscle mass. Basically, if you eat enough protein, your muscles will build and repair themselves in an adequate manner, and eating more than what is recommended does not equate to to an increase in muscle mass. If we eat much more than what is recommended, it doesn't mean our muscles are going to grow any faster or longer or stronger, no more so than our hair would grow faster or our skin would grow faster. So we need to eat an adequate amount to maintain the integrity of our tissues, but eating more and more and more, as what some supplement companies recommend, is not going to increase our muscle strength. In fact, if we eat too much protein, what happens to the extra? Basically, we're going to either store it as body fat or it's going to get excreted from the body through our urine. So we're not going to put more in our muscle if we eat more. Usually individuals who want to build their muscle do not want excess body fat, and that's typically the first place that all the extra is going to go, into fat, or we're going to just excrete it through our urine. What occurs when there's too much protein in the body? Again, basically, if we're taking these extra supplements, it's just going to turn into body fat. If we have too much protein at the same time that we do not have enough carbohydrate, what's going to end up happening is our body's going to break that protein down and turn it into a carbohydrate. That process is called gluconeogenesis. It's the formation of a new glucose molecule from a non-carbohydrate source. When this happens, there are a lot of byproducts that are released into the body: water, nitrates, ammonia, ketones, and uric acid. And these things could cause damage to the human body, including dehydration, could be some challenges for the liver and kidney to detox all of those byproducts. And then finally, in worst case scenario, we would get an illness called ketoacidosis, which does cause weight loss, but also significant damage to the human body could occur during that. In the absence of carbohydrates, we're going to have to force our body to use protein for energy rather than what its primary function is, which is to build and repair the tissues of the body. If this goes on for long periods of time, where we're changing over our fat in protein into a carbohydrate, ketoacidosis would occur, and you can see from the visual all the different challenges the body would go through in a state of ketoacidosis. In the same respect of too much is not good for the body, too little would not be good either. So we really want to aim at about 1 gram of protein for every kilogram of our body weight. If we didn't get enough protein, you can see some of the problems that the body would go through. Two of the biggest ones would be that we would have weak tissues, weak muscles, weak skin, weak organs, weak hair, weak every tissue of the human body. We would also be in a state of anemia, and probably the most significant problem we would see up front would be a weakened immune system. So there would be many more acute and chronic illnesses. In summary, about 20% of an active person's diet should be protein, and that should average anywhere between 50 to 100 grams per day, based on how much the person weighs in kilograms. Protein is going to go into the human body, build and repair all of the tissues, and we need a moderate amount of protein each day. If we had too much for long periods of time, it would be problematic to our health, and too little, the same, would be problematic to our health. So in summary, we want to eat our protein and nutrients from our food rather than getting them from supplements. It's healthier, we absorb more, and it's going to be less costly. But this is the presentation on protein.